Well, we're going to work on our muff. And first of all, I want to give you a word about ironing the faux fur. Do not, under any circumstance, ask me how I know this.
Oh, I bet that was fun.
It was, but I had yards and yards of it. You're not going to have all the extra that I had. First thing we do is cut it in the direction I tell you. The curliness is supposed to go from left to right horizontally, so that's how you lay it out. Cut out your piece of lining, and I tell you to press a 3/16 inch fold in it before you put it together. So there that is. And on the paper pattern, it shows you where to sew in the little string that'll go, the lanyard. Would you call that a lanyard string?
Yes, I think I would.
The little lanyard string that goes around her neck. You sew this in at this time. It's in the very middle. It's marked on the paper pattern, but sew it pretty good too. See, I've sewed it over several times. And all of the string goes inside here, but don't sew it up. So now I'm going to pin, and then I'll sew another seam just like that one, and then we'll come back and I'll show you how to put the rest of it together. All right, I've sewn both sides, and we're going to turn it right side out. It turns pretty easy, this does. Dee-da. There we go. See, and that's the way it's going to be. Yeah, that's nice and tight. The next thing we're going to do is, you've got a little piece of cotton batting that you should have cut out now. And this is actually vintage. I don't know where I got this. This is old, and I had enough for everybody, so everybody's getting a little piece of it. It's 100% cotton, it's nice and thin. You have to whip it together on all four sides so it won't kind of come apart when you insert it, because that's what makes the muff nice and puffy. So I've already gotten it nearly there, but I wanted to show you. You do it loose. See how loose that is? We just want to hold this together so it doesn't...
and you don't want to lose the fluffiness.
You don't want to lose the fluffiness. Okay, that's it. But do that on all four sides, and then we're going to put it inside the muff.
So it's basically like we're putting a pillow in a pillowcase.
Basically. And I'm going to have, well, we'll have to join it too, so. Okay. It's kind of a weird operation altogether, this is. But I was really excited to have a muff. I did this and then I thought, you know, I guess I could make myself one too. There you go.
Can I
Certainly.
feel it?
Yeah, it's neat.
Oh, that's nice and luxurious.
Yeah, it's got a nice feel to it. And that time it just went in really nice. Sometimes it doesn't. All right. The next thing we're going to do is sew the fur part together. But I want to make sure that you know that this little lanyard string has to be inside here. Because if it's on the outside, you'll have to cut it off and put it on again. Ask me how I know this. So it's inside.
So string to fur, fur to fur.
String to fur, fur to fur. Say that 3 times.
String to fur, fur to fur. String to fur to fur.
Say that after you have a couple of
Yeah.
margaritas. So I'm going to pin this, and then we'll sew that seam. And this is kind of, you know how the velvet was creepy? This is like really, really creepy.
But the fur will be much more forgiving.
It is exceedingly forgiving, and it is really cute when it's finished, I think. Okay, where is mine? There we go. That should be long enough for this. I guess I've never really made a lot of stuffed animals, so this fabric just feels so different to me.
And it's much softer than the real fur would be, too.
It is just, it has a beautiful hand. We're doing a 3/16 inch seam.
This was a great find to have for this particular kit because,
It makes it.
yes, and no animals were harmed in the making.
Yeah, no foes were hurt. Don't do that. You take pretty big stitches on this.
One thing, Deborah, I know you haven't worked with fur much, but
No, I
one
haven't.
thing you can do after you've sewn it, you can take your needle and you can pick out the hairs out of the stitches on the other side, and then that way, you know, you won't have any. It will just totally disguise the your stitches.
That sounds great. I will tell you, however, with this particular fur, you are not,
You're not going to see it.
it's truthfully, it's amazingly forgiving. Okay, we've got that done. Now what I'm going to do is attach the cotton batting. I sewed the fur seam, and now we're going to attach the stuffing to itself, and it's a butt seam.
And you had to kind of pull that up to get.
I did. I had to pull it up quite a bit.
So if you don't sew that together, it will eventually.
It'll crawl around
It'll
on
crawl
you
around and
and get lumpy, and your doll's hands will get cold because there'll be cold places and lumpy places. But it's big stitches and just a big loose butt seam, and don't get the other stuff into it, which I'm trying to do. And you can tell how it's really shaping up to be a little muff. And let's admit it, you know, we love the clothes and the dolls, But the things that sometimes make our heart go pity-pat more than anything else are the little bitty accessories.
Well, I think that's really important, and you can really dress up an ensemble with the extras, the gloves, muffs. You can take a very plain outfit and then put a stunning hat and just make the whole
It
thing.
makes the whole difference.
But this concept could be done with lots and lots of
Oh gosh,
different
yes.
things. You could do it with velvet and feathers and.
All right, when we come back, we'll sew the final seam and turn it right side out. All right, what I've done is I've pulled the little folded over seam that I had you fold, iron in when we first ironed. I'm going to be sewing this. It took a little bit. You're going to have to work with it a little bit to pull this over. So don't worry if it looks like, when you first started, if it looks like it's not going to happen, don't worry about it. It is. And I put my finger through it.
It's a nice little finger warmer.
It is. So, again, this is just a whip stitch. And this is the inside, of course. You're not going to see it, but we like everything finished nicely. Or I do. I just can't help it. Oops. No. This doesn't take long.
Deborah, you've really simplified a muff because I've made many of them in my time, and I've managed to make it so much more complicated
Really?
than you have, and yours is just as effective as my overproduced.
Really?
Muffs. Yeah.
That I think may be the thing that I do, is I don't want to make things wrong, but I've tried very hard to make them simple.
I don't think the way I'm doing it is wrong, and I don't
Oh, no,
think
no,
the
I'm
way
sure it
you're
isn't.
doing it isn't wrong. Yours is just easier.
Well, I like easier. That's my favorite. Well, there.
We could go into production and make these.
Get in there. I don't like things sticking out. Okay, we're going to turn it right side out now. As soon as I'm sure that that's
not going anywhere.
let's see.
That's why you had to sew it tightly, because you
Uh-huh.
gotta have to get that force.
You got to get this through. Oh, my. Well, let's see. What have we got? They'll turn. Oh, well. Yeah, it's the way you do it may be less stressful on the muff.
Listen, I can stress out just about anything you can think of.
There we go. See
There
this?
you go.
See this fur? I mean, there's nothing to pick. It's
Oh,
just.
no, it's beautiful.
There we go.
So she's
Put
ready.
it on the girl.
We'll give her her little, so we're, and that, what's cuter for a winter scene than that? So isn't that sweet?
We're going to make a hat. Hats, I find, are just fun. But you've got to switch gears on it. They're more like building something, like a chair or upholstery, or they're more like building than they are sewing, I think. Don't you?
I absolutely agree with you. And a lot of people that are fabulous sewers have a terrible time with hats.
It's kind of different.
But I think you have to master hats to be a great sewer, because all of the great designers of the last century were all milliners.
Yes.
First.
So this is
Chanel, Halston, etc.
This is a lot of fun, but it's a little different. I'm going to assume that you have cut everything out, because that's the first thing I say to do. And I'm going to teach you to make a hat. And the first thing we make with the hat, because this is a proper hat, is a hat frame. We're making it out of crinoline. I'm going to move it over. I've already cut the wire the right size for you. And what you do in here, this is done with a larger needle, pretty big, good. It's a regular size needle, and a double thread.
Because you're really building something.
You're building something. I whip, you can watch me, and you whip it at the same time as you're shaping it. So, and then I'll actually double up on some of this. There we go. Is exactly at the edge.
And Deborah, do you think that the class should cut everything out all at once, or should they cut out the project as they're
Oh no, you don't want the million little pieces that are cut. Cut them out
as needed.
As needed. Or like cut out all of the jacket and then put the jacket together, and then cut out all of the next piece. That's what I would do. And be careful, because there's a lot of little pieces, and I'll give you extra. There'll be a couple of extra beads, just in case something happens to one or two of them, but you really kind of have to keep up with things.
Well, in class, we usually don't let them open
No, we don't.
Until it's time, because they end up losing them and falling on the floor, and so it's probably better to take each step at a time.
Each step at a time. Well, I think I may end up having to. And as you see, I'm not even using my optivisors right now. And you just shape as you go. See how I'm just buttoning this, putting it right together. Traditionally, when I make hats, this place where we're kind of overlapping is wherever I feel like it needs the most structure, because this is where there's the most stability. On this hat, because it's round, it doesn't make quite as much difference, but I'll probably position it up on the front, kind of close to where we'll put the decoration. But the important thing is that you just know, you just keep stitching over. Okay, we're going to do the hat side now, and because it's been crawling off on me. I gave it to Michael to hand to me.
I'm the official holder.
Holder of the sides of the hat. Okay, now this we're going to sew. It's a butt edge like this. And it's at a right angle. So you kind of have to guess at it. I'm going to sew a little bit more of it so you can just see. I think something that people have trouble with is hats you really can't pin. You have to manipulate it as you go. And I guess I never had thought about that till I was just doing it right now. I think at this point, something I do want to say is, if you'll notice how my hands are, not that you have to do yours this way, but you do kind of have to get yourself set. And we don't worry too much about a little extra. Ah, there we go. See how that's pretty much at a 90-degree angle? Okay, I sewed all the way around, and I want to show you how I join this in the back, because I don't make a seam. I just kind of sew the whole thing
Because you want it to
together.
lie flat.
It needs to lie completely flat. And as you can see, you don't have to worry too much about neatness at this point. You're worried more about the sides being straight and about it being sturdy when you finish. Not so much about it being neat.
So Deborah, will that be in the back or front or side, or does it matter?
It doesn't even matter.
Okay.
And especially if you sew real close, if you sew, a lot of this stuff is so counterintuitive, it's hard to get people to do it because it doesn't really fall in anything else they do.
Well, and basically what people can sew this however they like.
Mm-hmm.
Is that true?
Well, it is true.
As long as they get the shapes together?
As long as you get the shape together, but really what I'm saying is you don't want a seam here. You just want it joined one thing on top of the other. Okay. Now you can dissolve. I am going to trim that little bitty place right there. There. And now we're going to put the bottom on. Oh, that looks nice and straight. You do want a straight side. Okay.
So this is a classic pillbox.
A classic pillbox. And just do kind of the basic round shape for it, so it's not.
I'll make it easier for the
Oh
So-
yeah, make it much easier. There.
I mean, now it's easy to see why prefabbed hat forms can, run you $25 or $30.
That's right.
Because you have to put work in it too.
There's a fair amount of labor in this. And it is better to start here in the little thicker area. The thing about about doing this is the farther around you get, kind of the easier it is. Starting right now, it's kind of aggravating to get it all together. There we go. I'm just going to sew a little bit more. Then I'm going to assume that you've seen enough that you can reproduce at least this well. And we're going to sew all the way around to here, and as I did before, we'll overlap, just kind of butt the ends together. Yes. That's a hat frame for the little pillbox hat. We're going to cover this in fur and line it with silk. But right now, we're going to do the messy part. Oh, I guess I should have started with this a little bit before. Yeah. See that big glob? We really don't want that. This will stabilize it, it'll strengthen it, it'll keep your threads from coming out. Again, not a difficult thing, but it's important. I'll finish this. Especially do a little bit on top of this double here.
At home, couldn't the students use a little paintbrush to paint that on?
I think even here I could probably use a little paintbrush, but I tend to do
You're
it.
a hands-on.
I'm a
type.
hands-on kind of girl. Yeah. The important thing is I have a wet paper towel ready to pick up whatever, and I'm done. And we're going to set this aside. It doesn't have to be completely dry, but it needs to be a little bit
Now, is the
dry.
point of that to stiffen the?
It stiffens it, and it keeps it from coming apart. I mean, once this is glued, it's much more stable after you finish it. Yeah, I just like doing that, so we're gonna.
And it's just regular old Elmer's. It's not.
It's nothing
Anything special?
real fancy. It's just plain old Elmer's. Whatever you have, Elmer's is good general glue. So we're gonna put it aside and let it dry, and then we'll cover the hat. And be looking for a really pretty. I'll have a button included in your kit, something I like, but you may have something fancy about a 1/2 inch that you just have one of, and it's antique, and so you can find one of those. Alrighty. Right, now that we have let this dry and it feels nice and sturdy, I'm going to cover the hat. And in the meantime, you've cut everything out to shape. And this is kind of, well, for want of a better word, it's kind of sloppy, but that's okay. We're sewing this on. Sew all the way around and hold it down. Doesn't have to be really neat, just kind of has to be stable.
So it's about a 1/4 inch fold over, is that what we've got?
A little more.
A little more.
It's a bit more. It's hard to tell because it's kind of so fuzzy. And again, it's like I said, it's quite a bigger needle. And quite a bigger stitches, as you can tell. Because this fabric is quite forgiving. It's a wonderful,
It wouldn't be that enjoyable if it were the real fur.
oh,
You
it
would have
would
to-
not.
Elbow grease.
Oh my goodness, yes, I have worked with real fur from time to time, and that was not something I enjoyed. I'm doing some back stitches, as you may notice.
But that's going by really fast.
Yeah. Oopsie. Let's pull that
Oh, it's
around.
looking really nice.
Okay. Maybe one more here to get it nice and tight. Okay. I always look at this and think, you know, we could maybe make some kind of interesting wigs with it.
You could, but I mean, it's a little dark for a wig.
It's according to whose hair you're doing.
That's true. That's true.
In the meantime, and this is in your instructions, you turn this up 1/4 inch and then sew it with a long running stitch. On your long piece, you need to sew a fold in. You can't iron it, as I said before, and there's no need really to hem it. It's just a plain long running stitch to hold this down firmly.
And that would be the edge to on the brim of the hat, I guess we call that. Or,
Well, we're going to put it right
oh, we're
here.
going to put it at the top. Okay.
It's the top.
Okay, gotcha.
See what I'm doing?
Oh, yeah.
It's, and I back stitch it. Just as close to this top edge. As you can get, and you really can't pin it.
No, you can't pin this.
You just have to.
And unfortunately, in the black, that even if you were here in life, you couldn't really see any of the stitches.
No.
And the fur is going to cover
See, the fur is.
It's actually really fabulous.
It is really good fur. Not to mention being, it's, of course, you have it in hand now. It's incredibly soft.
It really is.
Which is something I really like. And that's what we're going to do all the way around. Good sturdy thread, just one.
Now, when you're catching that, are you catching it right at are you looping around the wire?
No, I'm right under the wire.
Right under the wire. So it's fairly easy sewing then.
Yes, yeah. Oh, and I can feel when I hit the wire, and that's okay. But no,
So your
I'm
fingers,
right under it.
are you in the hat using your fingers to kind of support.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah, because we can see your fingers are up in there. And you're,
And I'm doing a back stitch each time too.
okay.
And really, these stitches are about a 1/2 inch long, and then I come back and an 1/8 of an inch is what it amounts to. But you couldn't, and you notice I have made this needle now has a curve. I've worn it out.
I do that too. I make my own curved needles just to,
Just sewing.
and it's sad then one day they break and then
And
you
then
have to, you got to train a new one.
You got to train a new one.
David can work with a curved needle.
I cannot.
He can't, well, you know, he's a master upholsterer. I didn't know if you know that.
I did not know
Yeah,
that.
he is. He can do all those things like, you know, tufted Turkish chairs.
Oh
and-
my goodness.
He doesn't do much anymore, but for many years he did, and then we had, you know,
You had the
upholstery
business.
crew that,
Oh my.
and he was. Let me tell you, he's a tough customer.
I'm sure he is.
But if a cushion doesn't fit right or a tufting isn't right,
I'm with
you'll
him.
hear about it.
I am with him. I had an excellent upholsterer, and I've never had another one that made me happy since then. It is.
The nice thing is, if you have one, you can certainly find plenty of work for them.
Oh, yes. Okay. Gosh, I did that without saying anything. I folded this over. And this is, I folded it over, and we're going to sew the fold down.
So are you almost pulling it to the top now of the inside of the hat? Is that how?
Yes, I had to. It's kind of what you have to do. See, there's a fold right here. I can't hardly show it. It's so, see
It's
the
so dark.
fold?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes, but there's a fold, people out there.
Yes. And because it's so thick, the only way to really work it is a stab stitch.
That's just in and out.
Straight in, straight out, and really, really hope that when you do a stab stitch, you don't actually stab yourself.
Well, pain, beauty is pain.
Well, there we go. See, isn't that wild?
Oh, it's looking great.
It's almost like this isn't fair. This is really not.
It's very gratifying to
It is. It's lovely to do something once in a while that looks good and it's not all that hard.
That's right.
Okay. Now I'm just going to fold this in and we're going to sew around.
And you don't have to really be concerned because
No.
the stitches aren't going to show.
Nope, they are not. See if I can do them. Nah, that was wishful thinking. This is a great first hat project because you're getting all the basics and not quite so much aggravation. I'm finishing up on the inside. Just a few more stitches. As I said before, stab stitches do seem to be what works best here.
So stab stitches are in and out.
In and out.
In and out.
And I've come around to where I began. Make sure everything's
Nice and
taut.
and that's going to feel really nice on her
And it's going to
head
be so
with the-
warm and everything. Okay. All right. The next thing we're going to do is line the hat. As the instructions tell you, iron it, iron the lining. It's the lining of the hat's going to be the silk, just like her skirt. You've got the pattern piece, and then you fold up a 1/2 inch on both of the long sides. This is the lining. You see how the hat's looking already? Looks very like a hat. This is slip stitched to the inside. Sometimes a little tricky to get started here on this edge. There we go, to find it. Okay, we're slip stitching the lining to the hat. And I'm going to try to do it here so you can see it. It's pretty much just like a plain old hem stitch. And I can feel the wire edge of the hat frame. I'm kind of sewing against that. The stitches are maybe 1/8 of an inch, between 1/8 and 1/4, because you do want it to be stable. And just proceed on around. And when you get, I'll stop, I will catch you again when I'm about here and show you how to join the front, the beginning and the end of the lining.
So Deborah, you just whipped through that.
It's not a fast, I mean, it's not a slow thing, and it's not really an overly difficult thing either. But I suppose I should keep that quiet. Well, it's too late for me. You pretend like it's really hard.
Well, and it could be hard for a lot of people.
This fur is kind of like beauty. It covers a multitude of sins. So that's kind of nice too. We're almost to the beginning now. Let's see. Oh, yes, I am, as a matter of fact. Okay, when you get here, this part gets like folded under. Okay. There we go. We're about to there. One more stitch. Ouch. Okay. Here's the lining. Pull it up.
These are the last little stitches you're going to do now to finish this off.
Okay, again, a slip stitch.
And that's going to fall all into the creases, so it won't even bear.
Oh, you won't see this. Okay. Fold that over. Now, I'm going to take a couple of stitches so that's nice and stable, and we're going to gather this up. And it'll be gathered to a perfect tight little circle. It's important that your stitches be big, not small.
So these are big stitches.
These are big
So
stitches.
these are not
Pretty
little mouse
big.
stitches. These are
No.
big old rat stitches.
These are big old stitches, because the bigger the stitches, the smaller the center.
We apologize. It's dark fabric and dark fur, so it doesn't give you the full, but you can see there the concept of how it's going to be.
It's a gathering stitch, and how long do you think they are, Michael? Just looking at them. Because I'm looking through the SOP device, so it's
I think they're like a
quarter of an inch, eighth.
an eighth,
Okay.
but I think you could do a quarter of an inch and it would be fine. I mean, the inside of a hat usually looks pretty mushed in, you know, of the lining.
Okay,
And they would change, you know, for a person's hat, they would change that lining.
yes.
Now that's looking really good. And they just plopped it in.
Yep. And you sew back and forth. I just wanted to make sure it all
And
fit.
probably with the fur, you could probably go straight through to the other side and
You're right.
it wouldn't even show.
No. So that's pretty much it. You have feathers. We're going to have a button.
Well, the kit comes with a lovely button.
It does.
And a lovely feather, but
About 3 feathers, but the feathers, you have to work with feathers. You do not expect to just use the feathers.
no, you have to manipulate
You
it.
have to
And
manipulate
they will have a
them.
photograph, and do you know what, if they have they're out in the garden and they see a little beautiful bird feather,
Oh,
use it.
yes. Oh, yes. I have some
Now, I have a little special prize for you, Deborah, for this hat.
Oh,
So Jose brought down from our, my grandmother's box of special buttons,
oh, yum.
beautiful
Ooh.
antique buttons. And you get to pick one to use. And
That.
I knew you'd pick the best one. That's
Did
it.
you really?
Yes, I did. I knew you would pick that one. So that's the one you're going to use. Notice the tablecloth's got little fur all over it.
Fur and
But
feathers.
you know, this is a
and
perfect use for those
one of
buttons
the
that.
kind things.
Yeah, and then
Is
you know,
that
it's
not
spent
pretty?
90 years in a old cake tub, so now it's going to get some use.
Well, you can show the finished one, which is,
And so here we have, let's see, here's the finished one, and she's looking marvelous with her hat.
very happy with her outfit. It's been so much fun doing this
It
with
has.
you.
I've learned so much, and I hope that the audience out there has enjoyed this as much as we've enjoyed presenting it to you.
And have fun with your kid, and I hope you enjoy, and we'll maybe do this again.
You never know. You know, if we're not dead, we'll show up again. Bye-bye.
Bye. Michael and I have had fun working together with you today. I hope you have. I hope we'll be able to get together and do it again. Deborah Jenkines, goodbye.